One more edition of Politics and Random. Berto Will is your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you as usual. Of course, we're going to spend some time on the horrific incident that occurred in Uvalde, Texas. And why are we going to do that? Because I think this has to be the genesis. I honestly believe this needs to be the genesis of the change, not only in Texas, but around the country. I think it is time for us to call things as they are. You know, we have to stop playing with people's lives. You know, politicians do that. And by the way, yes, most of the Republicans, they do that. They are playing with people's lives. And I want to play something that I sent out as a note a few times. But beforehand, I'll go ahead and salute our people. AVQ, welcome aboard. Alistair Waters, welcome aboard. Michael Rudden, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. AC Rodriguez, ¿cómo estás, my good friend? Paul Fleming, welcome aboard. Let's see who else we got here. May Wood, how you doing, May? And of course, Yvette, Avery, Herod, welcome aboard, my beautiful people. Let's go ahead and get busy. Let me start with some of the stuff that Brother Rudden put in. Egberto, mind putting this on the screen with two long ones on a single topic that I hope you read out in full as it comes. School shooting, perhaps the worst form of mass shooting. We in the U.S. are nowhere near close to any other nation. The idea that more guns keep us safer is demonstrably backwards and wrong. Our nation needs to do something, anything about this. The useful options on the table right now are gun licensing, training, requirements to have respect for firearms as dangerous tools, universal background checks to keep gun sales out of hands of felons, terrorists, wife beaters, and domestic violence laws, confiscation for cause as over 2/3 of mass shooters have wife beaten histories. What's interesting, Rudnin? I'm going to put it in, see if I can get it in a little bit, but I want to make a little comment on that because the Republicans would be very quick in saying that, oh, if you legalize drugs, there's going to be so many of them out there that people are just going to use it. And we have some people in the room, progressives as well, that feel that way. But what we're saying is we don't want to take your gun away. We just want to regulate it. And it's the same thing we want to do with drugs. We want to say, let there be drugs, but let's regulate it so that we can actually solve any problems that arises with it. That means we don't send anybody to the black market because it's all legal, right? So, I mean, we're not trying to make guns illegal because again, that does something for the black market, right? So no, no, no. It's a red herring. Let me tell you what the gun companies are doing. The gun companies want you to believe that we want to take your guns away, so they want to make sure that no laws get created to moderate guns. And the reason why has nothing to do with good or bad. It simply has to do with the mighty dollar. Whether having laws will create less sales. It's like now we have this and people are worried, oh, we may get some laws that's going to restrict guns and everybody make a run on the gun shops. And those guys that own 125 guns now are going to own 150 guns. Wow, what more do you want to do with guns? What's your plans? You know? So let's go ahead and be cognizant of these issues. Let me go ahead and put onto the screen what Brother Rudnin has placed there. If I can get it to work, I'll do so. Let's configure that and bring that screen out. I think that's it. And there is a screen that Brother Rudnin wants you to see. Take a look at that. Those are the numbers. United States, 288 school shootings in 2022. Mexico, 8. South Africa, 6. India, 5. And by the way, India is a lot larger than we are. So per capita, it's like minute. Canada, 2. France, 2. Brazil, 2. It's preposterous. It's ridiculous. All right, continue. Thank you for the piece, Redden. Okay, 27 school shootings have taken place so far this year. A shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, that has killed 19 children and 2 adults marked the 27th school shooting this year. Education Week has been tracking school shootings since 2018. According to the database, 119 school shooting incidents have taken place since then. The U.S. has already surpassed 200 mass shootings this year. 2019, we in the U.S. have more mass shootings than days. Gun violence, our archive tracks 417 mass shootings in 2019, 611 mass shootings in 2020, 693 mass shootings in 2021. Are you seeing the trend? Yes, as guns become more prevalent, the amount of mass shootings grow. Mass shootings have become so prevalent that they are no longer newsworthy to be a part of a national conversation unless they're a major mass shooting. Well, again, it's going to be a major problem when the right people get killed. Listen to me, folks. When the right people get killed, that is when it's going to become an issue, right? Or if the perpetrators start looking a different way. If the majority of the perpetrators start to look differently, watch how quickly things will change. Watch how quickly things will change. Michael Rodney says Maggie Astor tweeted after Sandy Hook. I read about how the group of parents waiting in a firehouse had dwindled until finally they were told that if they were still there, their children were dead. The reporters wrote that the screaming could be heard from the street. I will never forget that. I can imagine. Eric Hayes says prayers for all, but what are you calling? What do you mean, what am I calling? Explain. Michael Renner says Lee Waldman tweeted, we just heard screams inside the Civic Center. Yet another family hearing the worst possible news. Sad. Alistair Waters says, my gut wants so badly to hate. My heart wants so badly to hate. The internal conflict pounding through the whole being is reaching a cataclysmic breaking point. You want to direct your hate not at your Republican brothers and sisters. You want to direct that hate at the people who are pulling their strings. You know, you want to get it where it really matters because those I mean, so if you have a cancer growing and you cut an appendage off, it continues to grow, it continues to multiply. You have done nothing. You haven't even made yourself feel all that good. What we have to do is extricate the criminals. We have to extricate the thugs, the leading thugs. We have to take their clothes off and let people see what they're really about. And I love what Beto O'Rourke did today. The governor of Texas had this. Well, I'm going to show you that video in a little bit. But before I continue, well, let me continue reading some of these and then I'll go to the first video. All right, watching from Twitch, according to AVQ, that's what he's doing. But Alistair, first of all, my dear sister, don't let people put hate into your heart, right? I have a particular relative of mine that for reasons I'm not going to really put out here now, I used to hate that person with a passion. You know, when people say things like hate really hurts you more than the other person, it's true. If I spend my time thinking about the hate that I have for somebody, they're back there living their life. When we hate Abbott, right? Abbott is back there doing his evil. We hate him. So what? You don't hate. You do something about it. You love on those people that need love right now to change their minds so that we can extricate that thug that we have in Austin. That is what we do. Because that thug is getting a whole lot of us killed. I'm going to play a piece that I did because the thing about seeing things with guns is you can see the deaths. You can see the mutilated bodies. You can see the flesh. You can see the ruptured bones. You can see all of that, the blood splattered. You can see all of that. So it's visual. But ultimately, that piece of flesh that's left from our bodies, that's there. It's dead. But guess what, people? Guess what? The killing, the murdering done under the auspices of the Republicans in Texas, if we were to stack those bodies up, and this is what I want Democrats to start talking about, not the neoliberal Democrats, real Democrats, folks who care about people, folks who love people. This is what I want them talking about. I feel my heart bleeds for those in Uvalde, Texas. Those 21 human beings that were murdered by the 22nd human being who likely bought a gun that Abbott allowed him to purchase. He may have some insecurity or whatever, but Abbott gave him the loaded gun. Abbott said, all you nutcases, if you're a nutcase, can have a gun. All you people who want a gun, no license required, no training required, go get your gun. That's Texas. That's that's Greg Abbott, Dan Patrick, and Ken Paxton, or Attorney General. That's who they are. That is who they are. And every one of those guys can be replicated in every red state in this country. And if you are complaining about being poor, if you are complaining about not having the needs met for your kids, know that the people you are electing are directly responsible for your pain. Directly responsible for your pain. This is not a question. This is not up for debate. These are numerical realities that can be corroborated with facts. Now, I understand, and I talk to you guys all of the time that facts and being right is not enough, but gaining the trust of the people. But those of you that are here, I am hoping to inculcate within one's mind that we can make a difference, but we're not going to make a difference by just shouting out that. We make a difference by talking to everybody and, yes, loving on everybody. You know? Okay. We got Paul Fleming says Republicans is what your Second Amendment looks like. Why on God's green earth would you keep electing governors that aren't playing with people's lives but killing Americans? Welcome aboard, Egberto. Welcome aboard. All right, Bridge MCP says, "Hey everyone." Alistair Waters says, "I refuse to do something that goes against my identity," and I'm with you, girl. Paul Fleming, America is only 4% of the world's population, but owns 40% of the weapons. Says something. Melanie Keelan, welcome to Politics Done Right. Welcome aboard. Bridge MCP, hey peeps, she says. May Wood says, let's include mental and emotional issues like being for right white nationalists. Yes, a mental problem. MAGA. Rose says, hi everyone. Welcome aboard, Rose. Nice to see you. Haven't seen you in the house for a while. Love to see you. Know you are one of our beautiful ladies out here who've always been here with us on the PDR posse. Michael Rodney says, Paul is correct. Americans have 40% of the world guns and just, yes, he is correct. Peggy Lopez, hi all. That is what the GOP leadership wants. They will foment hate, make guns easier to get. That hate trickles down to killing of children. Bruce Pollard says, Mothers for Gun Safety is activated. I interviewed the leader of the group. Remember I did that interview? I don't remember her name right now, but she looked through our archives. She's a wonderful woman. We honored her at the Houston Peace and Justice Center. And I then interviewed her a few months later on Politics Done Right. I saw her on TV last night. Lisa Water says, I will love with my whole heart, use my voice to uplift and edify every being I encounter. You beautiful woman, Alistair Waters. Roberto Luis, mi hermano, Roberto's going to be driving back with me to Houston, folks, and we're going to make a stop. I think today we were kind of making some plans today. I think that we may make a stop in LA. I mean, not LA, in Atlanta, and for to sleep. And I'll tell folks, whatever we come up with, and if anybody in Atlanta is there and want to just say a quick hi or something, grab some coffee. I mean, I know if you can't, because I know Atlanta is a big place with crazy traffic, but if you can, let you know. If you can't, still love you, man. Breach MCP says, Rose awake. That's funny. All right, Eric Hayes. All right, Michael Ryan says, Eric, thoughts and prayers are useless. They are useless. Alistair Waters says, Bruce Pollard, I need a way there. Got suggestions? Rose Williams says, trying to stay awake. Anyway, see my text to your phone. You two must be having some kind of private conversation that I'm getting into. I won't. Peggy Lopez says, Trump has words. that seem to believe he is opposed to the mass killing of children. And he is speaking in Texas at the NRA. His line number 5,999,999. Love that one. British MCP says, yeah. All right. Wood says, I was wondering if anyone heard what Beto said. I have it for you guys. Don't worry, I have it all for you. We got a great show coming. I just want to read what you guys are saying, and then I'm coming up with Beto as well. Gun control legislation could be passed if Manchin and Sinema vote to suspend the filibuster. Otherwise, 41 trigger-happy NRA sycophants will hold the USA hostage to mass murder. Let's not call it 41. Let's call it what it is. It will be 51, it will be 2 Democrats that are holding back gun legislation. Let's not play with this, folks. Democrats are in power. Democrats are in power right now. Okay? I don't care if Sinema and Manchin may be not in sync, then Democrats have failed to use their power. I'm not going to hear that again. We heard the same crap with from those Democrats with the with the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. We had the numbers, but some decided to be very neoconish neoliberals, and then we didn't get the things that we wanted. So what I'm saying is, remember in November. Again, or I should say, remember during your primaries, not all the primaries are complete. We don't know if it looks like, what's the name, claimed victory in Texas, the last conservative Democrat in Texas. He claimed victory, but he's up by 177 points with votes to count still. So we could actually still get Cisneros, but we'll see. She's 177 votes away. I can imagine the DSA is sitting back there and said, imagine if we had just knocked on 200 more doors. But folks, like I said, whatever. I'm moving on. Tom C says gun control legislation. Oh, I read that one. But yeah, let's not give Democrats a pass. If they want to pass something, if you want to blame not getting gun control this year, don't blame Republicans. When Republicans want to do evil, they don't ask questions. They execute. And you know who else they get to execute? Their marginal folks, they get them to execute too. Because in as much as we love on Cheney and Ketzinger, whatever his name is, when they need to vote in sync for their Republican causes, some of which we consider evil, they do. Even though they disagree with the MAGA folk, but they'll vote with the MAGA. Why can't we really find a way to get Sinema and Manchin to go ahead and do what needs to be done for the betterment of America? So no, I'm not going to give Democrats a pass on this one. I'm sorry. We are in control. We can decide whether things go or not. What it means is that if Manchin and Sinema are the missing link, then Manchin and Sinema are the missing link, and we need to talk it up and talk about getting rid of them. And I know people will say, well, then we hand the Senate over to El Señor McConnell. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about come to the realization that we have to do something, not have Nancy Pelosi go down and campaign for Cuellar. Why? Let's support the people who support our policies. Eric A says, calling out, what are you calling out here? This was tragic and sad, and this is evil. Yes, how do you keep the thugs on the streets from getting illegal guns? By not keeping thugs in office in Austin. That's the way you do it. We have thugs in the streets, and we have thugs running Austin. You want to solve the problem? Disconnect the thugs in Austin from the thugs on the street. That's how you do it, Eric. All right. Paul Fleming says, in my country, no one can just walk in our schools. They have to be buzzed in by in my county, I think you mean, by security officers. That's what schools look like now to make sure children are safe. That's how our school was, back in Kingwood as well. You can't just walk in anymore. I am sure Rump lies are way past Peggy. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Daniel says Beto is a political opportunist of the worst kind. Egberto shows his inhumanity when he cheers this kind of behavior. Not even to no. This behavior should not have started 24 hours after. This behavior should have started immediately. Immediately, as the first place that Abbott was, if he was in the vicinity, in front of all the cameras, it was Beto O'Rourke's job to go out there and says, "I don't want to hear you, Governor. The blood of these kids are on your hands. Get out of here. The blood of these kids are on your hands, Governor." So no, I'm sorry about you, Daniel Ledo. I'm sorry that you can't see that the thugs in Austin simply populate the thugs on the streets with the guns. Norman Reynolds says the issue of guns is not about GOP politicians. It's what the GOP voter wants, regardless of how sick in the mind and therefore innocent you, Egberto, want to make them justify any killing by a gun. No, again, here's the difference. It's one thing is acting. Humanity don't act. I mean, I can look, and I know I'm not creating false equivalences here. Okay, I look at our Democratic side and I say we want Medicare for all because it makes mathematical sense. We cannot get, even though most Americans support it, we cannot get, and by the way, and these people that support it and the Democrats that deny it, they still get elected. What's the difference? What is the difference with Democrats electing folks who are not doing what they want and Republicans electing folks who are not doing what they want? Not having Medicare for all kills. Not having, I mean, I'm sorry, those Democrats who voted against Medicare for all, they are responsible for killing as well. Because we know Medicare for all would ensure everybody has health care. So if I am going to say that Abbott is killing people by not accepting the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act, I have to look at Kinnaman and all those guys who refuse to put the public option, who refuse to put all these things into the health care bill that would have saved lives. Consistency. It's got to be consistent. Artist Margaret Ann Law, welcome to Politics Done Right. Thank you so kindly. Let's see. Peggy Lopez says maybe if mainstream media would show the bodies of the children. I think that is necessary. You see, we are anti. Remember, I talk about antiseptic slavery. When I call all of us antiseptic slaves, white, black, blue, everybody, you're slaves. Antiseptic. Define it, and you see what I'm talking about, right? And when we talk about what capitalism does, etc., the reason people think it's so beautiful and so great is they don't see. So who just said that about we need to show the pictures? I just scrolled past it. Maybe we it mentioned, yeah, Peggy Lopez. You're absolutely right, Peggy. Breach MCP says better work, a Democratic candidate for Texas. Governor approached the stage during Governor Greg Abbott news conference. I'm going to play that, so I'm not going to read it. Let's see what else we got here. For years, Greg Abbott removed gun laws, made it easier to get a gun. Exactly, he's a criminal. Daniel Ledo, the dead bodies are not even cold, and Egberto is seasoned on the moment for political purposes. No, yes, for political purposes. I'm sorry, you're right. You're right. I'm seasoned on the moment for political purposes because I hope for a change politically. We can make that change to prevent the thugs in Austin from maintaining their murder. So yes, you're right, sir. I'm sorry, Daniel. You're absolutely right. I am doing it for political purposes, and I hope I'm successful, or many of us who are doing it, I hope we're successful. So thank you for letting everybody point out the reality. So you're absolutely right, sir. AC Rodriguez says, growing up around gun violence, I have seen the devastation that causes. We really don't need them in this country. I understand the whole spiel about protecting against a tyrannical government. If anyone thinks that you can stand up, I mean, it's silly. You can't stand up to a government with a musket. You know what are they going to do? Bring a tank or a howitzer? Come on, man. Again, it's silly, but again, they don't. That side don't. Well, I'm not going to say that. If they were shooting kids up with drugs at school, oh, the GOP would be stopping that. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. Let's see what else we got. Alistair Waters says, Murdoch, nobody's taking our guns away. Breeze into Peace says, yes, it's the filibuster that must end. And we can. 2-year-old bill on the floor. Absolutely. So, artist Margaret and Law. Texas needs an overall when helping people with mental illness and with a lot of things, with just basic healthcare, artists, just basic healthcare. Egberto, hope the two of you survived the Watermelon 500, the loop around Atlanta. Roberto, you hear that, man? Anyway, let's see what else we got. Wow, got a lot of messages, guys. I'm gonna have to scroll down some. I'm not gonna read the ones that are inter-party, I mean, conversation between people. Did everyone watch this? Whoa, NBA coach explodes. That was a great one from the coach from Dallas. Yes. Gene Daigle, get out and vote. We will. Eric Hayes says, I think I lost my, a call came in and I forgot to disembark my phone from this headset, which means that it actually interrupted for quite a little second there. So forgive me for that, guys. All right, continuing, continuing. Uh, let's see what else. Alistair Waters said, do we give any person something as simple as a driver's license without some form of vetting? No. How about employees in the nuclear power? No, we don't. But for a gun that can kill and that has been killing, we do. All right, Tom C says 20 watching, thumbs up, please. Folks, please go up and thumbs up, thumbs up. And those of you that are on what is it again? Facebook, please also give us a thumbs up, please. We'd love that. All right, let's go ahead and start with the videos, folks, and then I'm gonna continue with that. But I want to give a little thing that I came up with yesterday. I taped it because I just wanted to say it and then remind people of this. Check this out. Condolences to my brothers and sisters in Uvalde, Texas. It is too early to know the reasons for the murder of all those innocent kids in Uvalde who were killed once again by guns. Texans are dying because of policies of Republican politicians and their leadership. While all Texans, irrespective of ideology and party, support home humane policies, it is clear that Republican politicians and their leadership do not. After all, while the many massacres by guns in Texas and throughout the country are graphic and visible, many other policies kill many more Texans. Our irresponsible refusal of the Medicare expansion to the Affordable Care Act sickens and kills thousands every year. Our lack of support for families create lockheed kids who grow up unsupervised. One cannot claim to support family values when one does not value families. It is time to elect those who will value families. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news. Absolutely. So we have to elect folks who value families. And, I wanted to point this out because when you see a murder, like we saw multiple murders, like we saw in Uvalde, right? Here's the problem. You can see that. You can see the flesh and blood. Well, you can imagine that because it's violent, it's a gun. You see all the people around the school or whatever. But here's what you don't see. You don't see that grandmother who got a mild heart attack in Yoakum, Texas, a town of very few people, who lost their hospital because Texas didn't accept the Affordable Care Act. You don't see all the hospitals around Texas in rural areas, the areas that vote Republican. All these areas in rural Texas, all these areas in rural Alabama, all these areas in rural Mississippi, all these areas in rural Kansas, Arkansas, Dakotas, all these hospitals closed because of governors. Well, some of those states that I just did accept, like Louisiana did find a way to, because they got a Democratic governor, to accept the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. But all these places, because again, they refused money. Well, with Texas, I normally say Texas have already paid for their Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. I can't say that about Mississippi, Alabama, and all those, because those are bigger states completely, right? Texas at least is one for one. But those are bigger states. They take a lot of money from the blue states and then say, hey, look at us. Our tax rates are very low. Why again? Because you don't do a damn thing for your people. And then you say, oh, we are a conservative state. Understand that if that's how you define conservative, hey. And then you say, well, all the northerners and all the westerners are moving to our states. Yeah, after they done make some money and can live in your state for cheap because you're not going to take any of their money to help the infrastructure. So of course they made a financial decision. they made a prudent financial decision to use the extraordinary slave labor in your state to live well. But anyhow, what I really want to get across is that if you think about it, we can see the deaths in from guns, and we can see the massacre. But the bigger massacre is the Republican policies that are killing people. It's bigger. So we lost 21. God rest their souls. But we've lost thousands because of policy. We've lost thousands. And they don't add up like they add up at 19 in one school. It's one family in Yoakum, another family in Brenham, another family in Texarkana, another family in Austin, another family in Dallas, Fort Worth. It's all these different places that a person dies because of Republican policy, right? And but what I'm trying to talk about with many in our party, meaning the Democratic Party, is you have to point these things out because antiseptic abstractions mean things occur but you don't quite see it because it's abstracted. It gives you a view, it puts a facade onto it. Like when I wrote that stuff for the space station, the TIFA module that I wrote was supposed to abstract whatever kind of computer you're on. So whether you're on an Apollo, a Mac, or a PC or whatever, the person who is programming, they program to that facade, that abstracted layer. And whatever had to be done in the background to talk to that computer, to that person writing the program, it looked the same. But on the backside, there's a hell of a lot different. So capitalism went from slavery to slavery and indentured servitude to the corporations in the way they function today. And they just put a facade on it, right? And they make it more palatable. The 20% that are doing great. I know everybody else, they're struggling. They just don't realize it because, again, what have they known before? Okay. Eric says, wasn't the shooter the son of one of the teachers shot, and how would that not be shown? I don't know. Let's see what else we have here. Peggy Lopez says it was politics that put the gun in the hands of the terrorists at the school in Texas. When is the right time for politics? Thank you very much for making that very prescient note. Michael Renner says Egberto authorities needed DNA tests to determine which children were which. That tells you the carnage that was in that place. But they said the same thing occurred when they went to Sandy Hook in Connecticut, right? Eric Hayes, Egberto, think of the grieving parents and would you show the pictures that is freaking sick? No, they're going to see it. No, the grieving parents will see the pictures. They will see it. They will get the bodies of their kids now. They're going to see it. It's the American people who are continuing to elect the thugs in Austin who need to see it to see what their vote is creating. That is what Peggy Lopez is talking about. Peggy Lopez means, please show those people who vote for those terrorists in Austin what their vote looks like. Their vote looks like that body that needs a DNA to be identified. That is what any person voting for Greg Abbott in 2022, that is your vote. And I'm waiting for the Democrat to create that ad. Your vote in 2022 is equivalent to that DNA, that body who had to be identified by DNA. That is the ad. Man, this hurts. Daniel Ledo, mass shootings are a more than daily occurrence. If not now, when? There's not a exactly right. AC Rodriguez, Daniel Ledo, I've been shot at more than once. I completely understand what I'm saying. This is not a theoretical discussion for me. How about you? All right. Let's see what else we got here. Tom C24 Washington, only 9. Come on, folks. Give us a thumbs up. We need thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Por favor. Por favor. Muchas gracias. Let's see. Audio mute. No, that was an error. Dave Smith says Joe Biden is spending millions of dollars every week. Okay, that's pointless. Let's see. Alistair Waters replying. Audio. Let's just sound this back. Okay, let's see what we got here now. Francis is just living up to Democratic. Okay, let's back up. I'm going through your list, folks, because I don't like to leave people uncovered who are trying to get me to get something out. That's my response. Melissa Nobles, how you doing, Melissa? Great to hear you here, my beautiful friend. Paul Fleming first says there were children. They were children, 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 children. Thank you. I get it. You know, Paul, and that's why I tell you those guys up in Austin are heartless. They're going to go to their NRA convention and they're going to talk about how the rules, how the law that they passed in 2021 gave everybody the right to just go get a gun. They're going to be bragging about that crap. You know, they will. They will. They will. Melissa Noble says, talk about the underground weapons market. Rules don't apply there. That is where they go to the shows. And supposedly you can just go buy your gun. You can go to a show and exchange a gun with somebody who has a gun, and he say, "Ah, you want to buy this gun from me?" And you just buy it from him. Again, laissez-faire. We can't even, folks. We can't even get a driver's license without more stuff. Let's see. You don't value anything if you disrespect the grieving families. I am trying to figure out who is disrespecting the grieving families here. The only person I've seen disrespect the grieving family thus far is Governor Abbott, Attorney General Ken Paxton, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, including using obscenities when, without using one obscenity, uh, we got the necessary work from Beto O'Rourke to make the governor and the lieutenant governor stop bloviating with this repetition of this killing. Hospitals don't close because of not having expanded Medicaid. Actually, sir, that statement that you made is completely false. It's what I said is not up for debate about about hospital closings not get because of not having the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care. And I can tell you in 30 seconds why. Okay? In Texas, there are many people who would otherwise qualify for the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act, but because it's not there, hospitals have nothing to bill for them. And therefore, they get no care at these hospitals, period. It's not a question. Why debate something that's not a question, Mike Cisak? Come on now. Medicaid often shortchanges hospitals, causing them to go under. I tell you what, zero is zero. Something is something. And both, by the way, hospitals are overcharging at hospitals, and my daughter just had 2 bouts with being in the hospital from having 2 strokes. It's ridiculous. First of all, we need to get rid of the capitalist system in the hospitals completely. Because if you support that, you support being snowed. You support being ripped off. You support being used for a fool. If you believe the hospital system has any merits in it when it comes to the fiscal responsibility of this country. Melissa Noble says, I would like to see the Republicans and gun owner who do want responsible legislation to speak up. I would like them to do the same also, but they won't. They won't. Daniel Ledo says, value families, rich coming from a guy who supports mothers killing their babies. Again, there you go with the lie. A blasto is not a baby. A blastocyst, not a baby. Does he also support fathers molesting their daughters? No, but you guys sure do. Look at the laws that we're going to get passed in North Carolina. All right, let's continue. Mike said we see more murders in heavy blue Democratic areas, not in deep areas. You know what is so funny? They like to use the murders, the gang murders that occur in Chicago and these other areas, right? These are these are wars within themselves, right? Not hurting the masses. The thing that they don't understand with going into a school is that is different. That makes everybody vulnerable. If you don't want to be in a murder location in Chicago, just don't go to certain areas. Don't go to where the gangs own, right? But when it comes to these killers that were put out on the streets by Greg Abbott, it's different. It's different because you don't have a recourse. You are at a school. Come on, you're at a school. All right, Norman says blaming Democrats when Republicans stand in the way of a program that support Americans isn't right. As per a certain tweet, one is free to stand in a hurricane and demand that wind stop blowing. Nothing gets done, and one stumps away furious that the demands change nothing. There is only one party that stands for things we progressives want. I agree that the Democratic Party is in charge, but do you also agree that our government is currently being held hostage by the minority? All right, let's get this right. The government is being held hostage by a minority when we decide to use the filibuster. The Democrats have the ability right now to get rid of the filibuster, and they're not doing it. When Mitch McConnell, Republicans need to get what they consider existential, what they consider their core. When Republicans want to get that done, they say to hell with the filibuster, and we do what we have to get done. All right? So now we have 50 Democrats and we have 50 Republicans. The fact of the matter is, if Democrats want to pass bills, they have 50 Democrats plus the vice president to get the bill passed. Look, am I ever going to vote for one of these clown Democrats? No. But what I'm saying is, the first part of being a party is to be honest. We are nowhere. Democrats are nowhere evil like is the Republican Party in what they do. That's a fact. However, we have two Democrats that we would have to call just as evil, or rather, not as evil, but evil because they won't you want to talk about what they won't let go through? We can't get a pandemic. If a pandemic hits us in the fall, we are up the gazoo because, again, Democrats won't break a filibuster to go ahead and say, to hell with you, Republicans, we are going to make sure that we are geared up for the pandemic. So if the pandemic occurs, if we get a pandemic in September because we are not populated, we don't get the bills passed to take care of business, right? Who is to be blamed if we get a pandemic in September? Are you going to go ahead and say we held America hostage from not being able to get newer vaccines because we have a rule that isn't constitutional, the filibuster? We have a filibuster. We won't break the filibuster to do something that is existential to America when we have the power to do so, but because we can't get Republicans to break a 60 vote filibuster, we're going to let it slide. Come on. Again, do you know why too often the Democratic Party is called weak? The Republicans get a lot of policy done with a lesser amount of people. Yeah, the Constitution is not a democracy. But we are right at the edge right now. Democrats are right at the edge of doing good. And we could. We can what laws need to be passed right now? We need to make sure that we have the money for the pandemic. We need it. We said, so if the pandemic explodes in September, right, near the election, and Mitch McConnell comes out and says, the Democrats were in control, they needed to do it. If I was in control, if McConnell could actually make this plea to the country, if I was in control, I have proven that when I need to do things, I will break the filibuster to get it done. Come on. Look, I understand those people who hate when you make these sorts of comments, right? But the reality is, you have at some time to person up and say, we have the numbers, we can do what we want to do to make it right for Americans. And if we allow Republicans who don't have the power to stop us because of some false wall, it's on us. Obamacare was on us. We allowed ourselves to be talked down. I'm sorry, that's how it is, man. Let's see. Michael Rudnin says, pass this to Mike. The rate of murder in the U.S. has gone up at an alarming rate, but despite a media narrative to the contrary, this is a problem that afflicts Republican-run cities and states as much or more. Actually, it is more. I did some studies that show one of the things that they don't show is what goes on in the rural areas, and because they're not as big, right? All right, I'm not for people that are replying to other people. I'm not going to read that because I don't have the time to do that because of the time is coming up on us. Melissa says, "Show the guns used, show the bodies, just like it's done in Ukraine." I love you, girl. That's right. Rose says, as Melissa said, there should have been all kinds of alarm bells going off well before this happened. Exactly right. Melissa, shootings are going on all over around Houston. Check the stats. I know. Well, you unleash guns. That's what you get. But here's my concern, Melissa. Right now, I spoke to some very people high up in the echelons recently in the party saying, why aren't you making this crime issue a Republican issue? You let go all these guns on the streets, you get more guns, you get more killings. That's what you've done. Macaroni said, "Yeah, Bert, it's too much today," and the conservatives in the chat continue to press buttons. I'm not, I'm working with what moving us forward, brother. CPAC is having a conference next month in Budapest. They love fascism, so that's why they're there. Alistair Waters says, "Eric Hayes, what's disrespectful to the survivors, victims, and families?" Exactly. Egberto, in a lot of red states, takes more to get a haircut license than it does to get a gun. Amazing. Daniel Edo said, "Would it horrify you, Egberto, to know there is a Texas website where people go and buy and trade guns and ammo daily, like Gun Craigslist? We are out there doing gun deals in Walmart parking lots." Yes, I know. It doesn't surprise me because I've seen it firsthand. Out of darkness, welcome aboard. Daniel Edo, that's just what we need. Paranoid, gun-touting citizens roaming the streets at will. We already have them, brother. Not a theoretical discussion for me either. I'm glad to hear Egberto say this hurts. I was wondering how you were able to talk about this today. It hurts like hell. Like hell. Especially when you have kids. Melissa Noble says, Egberto, I'm apprehensive to go to the rally at noon Friday at Discovery Green. The combo of heated passion and gun lovers across the way. No, go. We can't not go to things because we're scared somebody's going to gun us down. We have to make sure that the mayor is responsible for keeping us safe. These are existential times. I was speaking to a person high up in the party saying we have to hit power with power. Otherwise, our people will cower. They won't go to the polls. They'll say, I am scared to go to the polls because the poll watchers may be there. I want us to put out there. We will have poll watchers out there to watch the poll watchers. Yes, that's what we will do. And we will make sure that no poll watchers touches any citizen, irrespective of, well, we don't know their ideology when they vote, right? But we don't say, oh, they're sending poll watchers, and we say, oh my God, they're going to send poll watchers. All you do is scare your voters. No. And that's what they want to do. They want to say, we're putting school. You know why they put it? You know why they're talking about it out loud? They won't have enough anyway, but they're talking about it out loud because they want, it's a form of voter suppression to say, I am going to let people be so scared to go out there that I'm going to do it. And Melissa, that's what's working on you right now. When you say, Egberto, I'm apprehensive to go to the rally, my dear beautiful sister, do not be. Just be cognizant of your surroundings, but go. And I'm telling everybody on Friday, Alistair Waters, go to that rally. Alistair is going to go to the rally as well. Need to. Anybody? By the way, anybody going to the rally in this forum in Texas? If you're close to Conroe, contact me. Okay. Anyhow, let's continue. Michael Rene, 1 in 4 rural hospitals is vulnerable to closure, and you report fines. Yeah, that's been out. We had a conservative North Carolina mayor, I don't remember his name, walk from North Carolina to DC to beg for them to open up that in their state. Please play the video. I'm going to play the video now. I talk too damn much. Let me go ahead and play the video. Here's the O'Rourke video, folks.
I would say something. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
The next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue. It's on assholes like you. Why don't you get out of here?
He goes to the NRA convention to brag about how easy he has made it to purchase guns in this state and to carry them publicly without a background check whatsoever. It is absolutely wrong. In fact, it is insane. The governor talks about mental health. It is insane that we allow an 18-year-old to go in and buy an AR-15. What the hell did we think he was going to do with that? This one is on us.
And what do you say to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says now is not the time to make this political?
Now is the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Santa Fe High School was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after El Paso was the time to stop the next shooting. Right after Midland, Odessa was the time to stop the next shooting. And in each case, we say this isn't the time. Now is the time, like literally right now. That's why I'm here. That's what we want as a state. That's what I want as a parent. I've got 3 kids who are in high school and middle school and elementary school. That's what they want. And I face their judgment and my conscience and ultimately my maker for what I do when I have the chance to change this. And I'm going to do everything in my power to change this. And I am not alone. The majority of Texas is with us on this right now. The majority of Texas is not reflected by that governor or those people around the table who talk about mental health care or say that this is pure evil or that it was absolutely unpredictable. This is predictable. It will happen and it will continue to happen until we change course.
And yes, he's right. It will continue to happen until we change course. And he's right also about those crooks on that table. Most Americans want, well, you know what most Americans want. All right, AC Rodriguez, 100% correct on the gang violence. The only time I've ever been shot was because I was with people I shouldn't have been with. Took me a few times to learn, but I'm still here, thankfully. Thankfully, you are here too, AC. Norman Reynolds says, way to go, Breach. Avery K says, how is a kid getting killed in a drive-by via a gang different than an innocent? It's very, very different. Because, again, one is a calculated thing about people who know each other. The other thing, and that's why killing occurs between people who know each other, generally speaking, okay? Now, the other kinds of killing, the road rage can be put right up to the governor because the more guns you have in the car, when your mind is not working right with road rage, you're likely to use it. That's why kids kill their parents and all that kind of, or a husband kill their wives and vice versa. Egberto Willis, please play the video. Oh, I think I got that one already. Peggy Lopez, Bridge MCP, he says, I'm able to put into a political issue as it is, and there you go. Alice Water said, last I knew bullets are colorblind. They sure are. I agree with Peggy Lopez sometimes. Says, Melissa Noble, I blame the people who vote these Republicans who are irresponsible and don't demand to pass a reasonable bill. I blame complacency of, again, Bridge, we have to reach these voters. And I know that's the human in us want to feel that, right? In other words, why are you voting for that guy? I am trying to convince them now not to vote for that guy. And I'm telling them straight up, a vote for a Republican in Texas right now is a vote on those kids of which we're getting the DNA right now. I'm sorry. You're voting for people who are allowing that eventuality to continue in Texas. Period. That's their vote. Now, again, that's their vote. All right, let's see. Paul Fleming says, Republicans, please stop saying that the government is coming for your guns. It is not possible to take 400,000 guns off the streets. Daniel Edo, that's between Daniel and somebody else. Thank goodness you are not in control. Oh, well, again, I am in control. You are in control. Everybody here are in control. But we have to assert that control collectively. So if we can if we can work collectively, we'll get stuff done. Bridge was really trying to get me to play that video, but she kept on putting it in there. Well, girl, I did it. A friend's teenage son in 1990 was shot in a drive-by shooting with a jealous high school student. They were in the cars next to each other. The shooter was jealous because he liked the girl the victim liked. He was a good student and athlete. He survived, however, had to do serious recovery, but most teens are not in touch with their emotions and haven't had access to guns. Exactly. That's so true. Paul Fleming, if you wonder why every city is hiring police officers, it's because they can't be days as an officer when citizens have more weapons than you do. Exactly. Mike Cisak, that's to Maywood. Daniel says these mass shootings are a reflection of jaundiced culture. No, it's a reflection of having a hell of a lot of guns on the streets. It's a reflection of having Republican policies that don't give people hope. I can name one after another. Melissa says, I'm an armchair activist now. I spent the whole morning on this already. Call Congress. Thank you, my dear, beautiful lady. That's what we have to do as well. Mike Cisa says, I called to make sure they uphold the Second Amendment. Good. Let them uphold the Second Amendment and maybe somebody will use it on them. Lister Waters says, there is a safety in numbers. Absolutely right. Correct, my dear. Melissa E. Noble says, see, that is exactly why I will not go to the rally. We also need someone with a drone to cover it. Thank you, Egberto from Bridge MCP. Our work has hurt more people than all my guns combined. That's a lie, but what can I say? I'll say it again. This is the 27th school shooting this year. Should be. I waited at last a week before I expressed my opinions on the death of RBG. That's your choice. Let's see what else. Any death to a kid, pure freaking evil. Yes, it is. And if you vote for a Republican, you're supporting it. Alistair Waters says Beto is absolutely right. Now is the time. Absolutely right, sir. Police are run by the local level. From Mike Cisak. Let's see what else I have here. I got to get out of here, guys. And I didn't ask anything. So what I'm going to do right now is do my quick ask, very quick ask. Please, folks, go to politicsandright.com/support. Politicsandright.com to support this program. I'm not going to go through the entire shebang other than to play my video, and then I'll be out of here. So please go to politicsandright.com/support to provide whatever support you're able to provide for this program. I guarantee you that we do well by you. Did I get that right? I hope I got that right. Let me go ahead and put it in one more time. Get that there. Get that there. That should be right now. That is a link to get to our site. Let me play the video for the books, and then I'll be out of here.
I'm Egberto Willies, as host of Politics Done Right, a progressive radio media show on Pacifica Network's KPFT 90.1 FM Houston that engages all ideologies. I found that our political angst isn't mostly ideological. There is a well-designed effort by many in power to control us. If we are at each other's throats, we are less likely to demand our economic and local wishes. In that light, I wrote 3 books. I wrote the first one titled, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, to describe the entire economy in a manner we can all understand. It highlights why it was designed to pilfer most as it empowers a few, the chosen. The second book, titled, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, take it to the next level. After understanding how the system pilfers, it is incumbent that we can speak to our peers to empower a change. The third book, How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, gives us a place to land. After learning about our economy that is dysfunctional for most and learning how to engage the other side, we point out what would make an economy that works for all. Each book stands on its own, but together they provide the full picture. Please consider getting one or more. You will undoubtedly learn, be entertained, and help us continue the mission with our blogs, articles, videos, and books. I'm Egberto Willies, as host of
Thank you so kindly, guys, for being here. I want to put the link for the books in the thing there, and then bear with me one second. Let me get the books links in there, and I'll put the PayPal link in there. We need your support. Please support us the best you can. There is a link to the books, and here is the link to our PayPal. Please consider clicking that join button as well on YouTube. Become a part of our PDR posse. My name is let's see what else we got. Brice says if they were talking guns away, they would have been gone. Duh. There you go. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. Oh, let me salute Vince Lamb. You always come at the end. Welcome to the show, Vince. And Out of Darkness, welcome to the show as well. Thank you for your kind words. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please.